Good morning, everybody. Good late morning. Uh, After daylight saving time. And welcome to week 9. What's going on, Greg? Good to see you. Welcome to the Sunday streams. I did just drop this in the Discord. But just as an FYI, moving forward, when I do go live for the Sunday streams, I will give overarching thoughts on each matchup. But these will be streams where the chat is limited to the members. So that'll keep things moving a little bit more seamlessly on Sunday morning when we're all scrambling, trying to sort out what our last minute calls are for our lineup. You don't have to become a member. You can watch the stream. I will give overarching thoughts on the big players in each matchup. But as far as specific questions for Sunday morning streams, those will be limited to members for the remainder of the season. If you are interested in becoming a member, you can find those details in the first link in the description of the live stream. You can join at the lowest level membership. You don't have to join at the highest level membership to ask questions in these chats, but you do need to be a member for the Sunday morning streams to engage in the chat. Fear not, though. I will give overarching thoughts in general for players in each individual matchup. And these are a little easier on me, to be completely honest, just to be able to get through, to make things a little bit sort things out a little bit more seamlessly. There's not as much traffic on Sunday mornings when I am myself up against it, making my own lineup decisions. So this will make things a little bit easier. For week 9, just in general. And I got to shut down the Discord because those pings are going to distract me from today. So again, if you are a member, you are welcome. You are free to ask questions in the Sunday morning streams. Anybody can watch. I will give my thoughts on players in each matchup. But this will kind of help streamline me on Sunday mornings when we're kind of up against the clock with less than 2 hours to go here before kickoff. So I'll do questions. I will prioritize questions, and then I will continue on with my thoughts on each game and players that are either in your lineup, out of your lineup, or maybe on the bubble. Greg, I would play Pittman. I am avoiding the Packers today. The last I saw is the weather in Green Bay is not very good. We're looking at rain. We're looking at 13-mile-per-hour winds. Let me see if that's still the latest in Green Bay. Just double-checking the weather. You can play your running backs in Green Bay without any concerns. Gibbs, Montgomery for the Lions, Jacobs for the Packers, who is expected to play. He was on the injury report. Okay, so 40 to 50% chance of rain. That's not as bad. That's not as concerning as it was maybe yesterday. But we are looking at 12, 13, 14-mile-per-hour winds. So I would definitely not play any kickers in this game. That feels a little too volatile. That feels a little too dicey. So if you have McManus or if you have Brandon McManus, or who's their kicker now, the Lions kicker? Is it Jake Bates? I would steer away from these guys strictly because of the wind. That's a little too concerning for me. But I guess the individual players are not as concerning with the weather. That being said, I think I would still go Pittman over Dobbs. I would play both Colts wide receivers tonight. Love is on the injury report. So, between the wind and some potential for rain, although it doesn't look like it's as severe as it was maybe considered yesterday. The Packers wide receivers are okay to work with. However, we are dealing with wind, and we are dealing with Jordan Love, nursing a groin injury. So there could be some limitations for the offense today. I would go Pittman in the dome with Flacco as his quarterback. You feel a lot better about the Colts pass catchers when Flacco is in there. This is a good matchup by the numbers. The Vikings are very beatable in the secondary, and there's no weather concerns because they're playing in the dome. So I would play Pittman over Dobbs. Downs is that team's wide receiver one, but I would play. I would have no problem playing both Colts wide receivers today. And as far as Tua versus Love, I would. God, I guess I would go Tua just because he's healthy, but I don't really love either one of them today. Love because of the injury. The matchup is good by the numbers. You can beat Detroit through the air. You can beat Detroit's secondary. You're going to have a tough time against their run defense, although you're not taking Josh Jacobs out of your lineup if you have Josh Jacobs. But you can beat the Lions through the air. So Love has the better matchup. Tua is the healthy one, I guess. I guess I would lean the healthy one, and I guess I would go Tua. Not that I love his matchup. All right. Let me also check to see if there's any latest injury updates. I saw that Puka Nacua has been cleared. He is going to play, so no concerns there. Puka is in your starting lineup. And we'll get injury reports rolling in here in the next few minutes. This is an update. This is big. Brian Robinson is now expected to be inactive today. Okay. I thought I saw that he was expected to play today, but this is new. Brian Robinson inactive. So if you have Brian Robinson, go ahead and get him out of your starting lineup. Find an alternate option, whoever it may be. You want to get Brian Robinson out of there. He has been ruled out for this game against the New York Giants. So Austin Eckler, expanded role, increased opportunities. Chris Rodriguez figures to get a couple more opportunities as well. But we got to move off of Brian Robinson. He was originally expected to play, but now not expected to play. Tony Pollard expected to play. Brian Thomas, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, all likely to play, barring a setback. Brian Thomas is the only player from that group that I would feel comfortable playing. I don't really feel comfortable playing Travis Etienne at less than 100% or Tank Bigsby at less than 100% in a bad matchup where their usage is unpredictable. So I'd rather not play either one of those guys if I could avoid it. Deontay Johnson expected to play 10 to 15 snaps in week 9, according to Tracy Wolfson. I don't know how believable or likely that is. That being said, I would look to move off of Deontay Johnson if you can. Whatever pivot you have, he's too dicey, too risky to play today. It doesn't sound like he's going to contribute that much on offense. I would avoid Deontay Johnson if you can. It sounds like his involvement today will be limited. Now, how likely is it that report is 100% true? I don't know. We get smoke and mirror updates from beat reporters and the teams themselves all the time. So it's possible Deontay does play more than that, especially if they feel like they need him. I doubt that they're in some type of double-digit point hole to the Denver Broncos at home, but it is the NFL, and you never know what could happen. If they find that they're down late in the game and they need to throw the ball, Deontay Johnson's going to be on the field, even if he's just running little go routes. Not that those are little, but you get my point. If he's just out there just running a straight line, he'll have a little bit more value, but obviously that's a very specific scenario. I would avoid Deontay Johnson today if you can, at all costs, essentially. He's difficult to trust. Zach Moss out. Chase Brown is a top 10 play this week. If you have Chase Brown, fire him up. Audric Estime, Lord Estime, first of his name, long may he reign. Lord Aldrich Estime, expected to be more involved for the Denver Broncos today. I do not like Javonte Williams today. I didn't like him before this update, and I don't like him. I dislike him even more now. This is a brutal matchup by the numbers against the Baltimore Ravens. You can throw on them all day long, but you are going to have a really difficult time running on them. I would move off of Javonte Williams. I would not play Sir Audric Estime, first of his name. However, he is an intriguing stash in deeper leagues. You probably can't get him onto your bench in 10-team leagues, probably not even 12-team leagues, but 14, 16-team leagues, Audric Estime for the Denver Broncos is absolutely worth a stash. Yes, Greg, Knicks is a better stream. I would play Bo Nix. Bo Nix is playing well today, or has been playing well recently, and gets a good matchup today against the Baltimore Ravens. They have the worst secondary by the numbers as far as passing yards allowed in the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens, always a stout defense, right? It's tough to go into Baltimore and play. That defense is ferocious. It's nasty. Their front seven is, but their secondary is as beatable as any in the NFL. Bo Nix is worth a start today, is worth a stream even in one quarterback leagues. He's got low end QB1 appeal. In this matchup, 100%. And he's been running a decent amount. Yes, I like Bo Nix over Jordan Love, over Tua Tagovailoa. I like Bo Nix over like Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford, Joe Flacco, Love and Tua, like we just talked about. Derek Carr, first game back. No thanks. Drake May, first game back from a concussion in a bad matchup. I'd rather play Bo Nix. I'd rather play Bo Nix than Jared Goff on the road in bad weather. Trevor Lawrence in a bad matchup on the road. I would rather play Bo Nix than all of these names. Yep. I would rather play Bo Nix than all of those guys. Let me keep it moving through these updates. Jameson Williams will be reinstated next week. Isaiah Pacheco targeting a late November return, so that could be within the next few weeks. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition, but it would be great news for Pacheco and the Chiefs in general. It would not be good news for Kareem Hunt. Puka will play today, so get Puka Nacua into your lineup. Amari Cooper will be inactive today. Amari is out. Get Amari Cooper out of your lineups. Get Keon Coleman into your lineups if you are between a couple of depth options. But Amari Cooper, with the wrist injury, will not play for the Buffalo Bills today. He is out. Do not play Amari Cooper. Get him out of your lineup. Whoever your potential alternate options are, get them in there. Get them in there. What's going on? What's going on, Chad? Cal Chad? I hope I'm saying that correctly. I believe you are a member as a result of He Hate Me's very generous donation yesterday. But welcome in. Appreciate the heads up. Yeah, no Brian Robinson. We got to move on from him. Austin Eckler, expanded opportunity today. Chris Rodriguez will see some touches for the Washington Commanders in the backfield. And you figure they maybe dial up a couple extra designed runs for Jaden Daniels. Because this is a good matchup by the numbers. You want to play back. You want to play backfield options against the New York Giants. But yeah, Amari Cooper inactive. Get him on out of there. See if I can get him into an IR spot. And of course, as always, if you have injured reserve spots and players who are out are eligible for IR spots, no matter who it is, add them to IR and pick a player up. I don't care who it is. If that player does nothing this week, you can drop them. That was a free pickup that you were able to just leave on your bench for a speculative ad. If you have that available to you, if you have that option available to you. Now I got to take Chris Godwin. Now the time has officially come for me to drop Chris Godwin because I got to move Amari Cooper to IR so I can pick somebody up. First, I got to figure out who that will be. But Amari Cooper inactive today. Get him out of your lineups. DJ Chark also inactive. I guess that's more opportunities for Quentin Johnston in a bad matchup, though. That's a tough spot for him against Cleveland. I guess I'll see Denzel Ward. Lad McConkey, you feel perfectly fine about, though. Okay, let me give some overarching thoughts. I don't see any new updates as of yet as far as injuries, but they will continue to roll in because we have hit the 11:30. We have hit 11:30 on the East Coast, and that is typically when injury reports officially start to roll in. Washington against New York. Jaden Daniels is in your starting lineup. Terry McLaurin is in your starting lineup. Malik Neighbors is in your starting lineup. Tyrone Tracy is in your starting lineup as well. He returned to a full practice on Friday. He missed a couple of sessions, or he missed one session with the concussion protocol, but he passed it very quickly. He is the RB1 for the Giants. That appears to be the case. Devin Singletary has taken a backseat to Tyrone Tracy, and Tyrone Tracy has been removed from the injury report. Washington is playing a lot better on defense recently than they have in the past couple of weeks. Tyrone Tracy is a borderline RB1. Washington's playing better, but they're still a team that's given up about 120 rushing yards per game. We're getting Tyrone Tracy in our lineup. Brian Robinson inactive, so Austin Eckler is a perfectly fine stream. Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, speculative depth only. Um, we're not turning to either one of those guys. What's up, Iron? Good to see you. I don't think Rodriguez will be relevant. Just noting that he will get some expanded opportunities. But yes, Jeremy McNichols will likely run ahead of him. But it'll be, I guess, however much Austin Eckler can handle today. And then McNichols, Rodriguez. McNichols will get first crack. But if Rodriguez is performing or outproducing him, you know how this works. The team will go with that hot hand approach, especially when they are operating in a committee. But Eckler is the only potential viable option that you're starting for the Commanders' backfield. First of all, Iron, I would play Puka. I'm taking the risk on Puka 10 times out of 10. Calvin Ridley is enticing. He has Mason Rudolph in as his quarterback now, so you feel perfectly fine about Calvin Ridley for more catchable targets, which is not something that he enjoyed or that he's ever enjoyed playing with Will Levis. So Ridley is viable. Shakir is more viable because Amari Cooper is out, and obviously Chubb starting running back, although Jerome Ford will play for the Browns today. So curious to see what that split potentially looks like. I would play Puka. Puka's a stud. We know what he can do. I think it's with all due respect to Calvin Ridley and Nick Chubb at this stage of his career, Puka is the most fantasy relevant player of these names in 2024. I will roll the dice on Puka. He will play. No concerns about his availability today. We keep it moving. With Puka. T. Higgins inactive. Zamir White is active for the Raiders week 9. Alexander Mattison leads that backfield, though. Alexander Mattison is a low-end RB2, but is perfectly fine to start from a volume perspective, and it's a great matchup. The Bengals' defense is not good. And speaking of not good, neither is Zamir White. So the fact that he's active does not deter me from firing up Alexander Mattison if you need him. And T. Higgins out. Curtis Samuel active. We're not starting him. Some combination of Andre Yosivas and Trenton Irwin and oh my God, who's their rookie whose name I am forgetting right now? Burton. No, who is the Bengals rookie? I am. This is the. They will combine for some type of like fill-in contributions in T. Higgins' absence. Jermaine Burton. All right, I had it. I was there. I was right on the. I was right on the cusp there of getting that right. What's going on, Rojo? Good to see you. And Iron, as far as Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts, it sucks that you have to make that choice because we're talking about two high-end QB1s. I mean, Jacksonville's defense is absolutely atrocious. The Giants at least are at least create pressure in the form of sacks. Rushing yards per game, the Giants are bottom 6. Actually, Jacksonville actually has a decent run defense, but their pass defense is atrocious. The Giants have a better pass defense, but their run defense is very gettable. That's a toss-up, Iron. You're talking about two of the elite quarterback options in one quarterback leagues. It's a pick your point. It's a pick your, it's truly like pick your preference. If you lean on Hurts, obviously both guys have high-end rushing floors. It's a better matchup through the air for Hurts. It's a better matchup on the ground for Daniels. I expect the Eagles to win the game at home against Jacksonville, and I expect Washington to win the game. I believe they're at home. No, they're on the road. It's a road game for the Giants, which could mean that Jaden Daniels remains a little bit more involved longer in that game. Man, yeah, that is a true toss up. I guess I slightly lean. Hurts because he's not in a division game. It is a division game for Jaden Daniels, so the Giants could maybe make things a little trickier for him. Division games are weird. We all know this. We've been around the block at this point. If there are matchups that are a little bit goofier than others, it's division matchups. So maybe I slightly lean Hurts since he's not in a division matchup, but we're splitting hairs. We're talking about like the QB2 and the QB3 in projections this week. I think I would play. I would slightly lean Hurts, and the only reason I'm saying that is because maybe he has a little bit of an easier time in a game that is not a division matchup. That being said, I don't expect Jaden Daniels to do anything other than ball out. Dude is a stud. Let's see. Rojo, desperate flex spot. Liggett or McMillan, both of them are on the injury report, right? Unless Liggett has been removed. And the problem with McMillan is he's on the injury report on Monday night. So that's not good at all. Liggett, expected to play Sunday. Do we have any other recent updates about Jalen McMillan's status? No. I think you have to go Liggett, Rojo, simply because if you wait until McMillan on Monday Night Football and he's out, then what are you pivoting to? What do you have to turn to as a potential alternative? You know what I mean? Your options are going to be way more limited. Like if you have Bucky Irving, or even if it's got to be a wide receiver. And, Sterling Shepard's also on the injury report. You could go to Trey Palmer or Raheem Jarrett, I guess. Or you could take a dart throw on. God, I'm not even going to suggest. Who are the Chiefs back up, like Sky Moore? Get out of here. No, I would play Liggett. I would play Liggett. Plus, as Chad mentions, yeah, I mean, Lattimore is out for the Saints. Their defense is Swiss cheese, even with Lattimore. I would just go with the Panthers rookie. I know it's Bryce Young throwing him the ball, but this is a good matchup. They're at home. It's a revenge game for Carolina for whatever that's worth. The Saints boat raced them week 1. They got to have revenge on their minds. I would play Liggett because if you wait for McMillan, you're not, that now you're rolling the dice on if he's even going to be available on Monday night, and then your backup alternate options are super limited. I would play the Panthers rookie, Rojo. I will say with McMillan, he just missed a long bomb for a score, and it was on Baker. And I'm not trying to shit on Baker. Baker has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. And for fantasy, he's been like a top 3 or 4 option over the course of the entire season. But he missed a throw. It was behind McMillan, where if it was on target, McMillan houses it. So that one wasn't on him. He was a step away, or like he was a slightly a bad throw away from a monster game. However, hamstring injury on the injury report, Monday Night Football, severely limited options in all likelihood that you can pivot to if McMillan doesn't play. I'd rather not mess around with that. I would rather find an alternate option. And Liggett is that for you? To me, that's the alternate option. I would just go with Liggett. Samuel, I mean, Curtis Samuel should have an expanded role. He also only has one game this year where he's cleared 40 yards receiving, and I know he's been in and out of the lineup, but I mean, he was only getting 30% of the snaps before Cooper arrived. Yes, he could be sneaky. Obviously, Josh Allen could turn any wide receiver into a fantasy goldmine any given week. We just haven't seen enough. And I like Curtis Samuel historically. We just haven't seen enough from him this year for me to justify, any type of like anything beyond. You could take a shot on him in in a DFS contest if you want to, because he's super cheap. What's up, Armando? ETN, Algier, Singletary, Hill, or Chestnut? Crap. I guess. I hate ETN's matchup. I like Algier's matchup, but obviously he's an RB2 behind Bijan. He's his team's RB2. He's like a fantasy RB4 or 5. Singletary has taken a backseat to Tyrone Tracy. Justice Hill, his use, he could be fine, but his usage is up and down. Chestnut will, I guess, get involved, but Pollard is expected to play. I don't. ETN, I guess, is the most like noteworthy name here. I guess I would go Algier. They're at home, right? It's a home game for the Falcons. I would probably go Algier. Let me see what his I mean, it's a great matchup against Dallas. It is a home game. Home opportunities this year. Week 1, he had 3 carries. Week 3, he had 7 carries. Week 4, he had 8 for 60, and he caught 2 balls for 20 yards. At home against 6 carries against Tampa, did nothing with them. 3 catches, did nothing with those. Okay. He's actually been a little bit more productive on the road this year, Algier has. Interesting. However, it is a good matchup by the numbers. I don't want to play Singletary. He's been, he has fallen completely off the radar. I think I would roll the dice on Algier, Armando. It's a good offense. The Falcons are playing well right now. They're at home. It's a good matchup by the numbers. You expect Bijan to do his thing as a top 5 option at the position any given week, but Algier, I would say his chances are solid. Probably in the 30 to 40% range to get a touchdown today, and for a RB4 or 5, I would take those odds going in as a desperation stream. I'll take a shot on Algier here. My charger keeps slipping out of my phone. I need a new phone. I would take Algier here, Armando. Good matchup at home, and the offense is playing well. And in another league, again, Robinson's out. Chestnut, Ford, Gibson, McLaughlin, or Roschon. Okay. Not Gibson. Probably not Chestnut. Ford, it's his first game back for after a multi-week absence, so I'm not like crazy about that. McLaughlin, he's up and down. He's really hit or miss. Roschon, you're pretty much just hoping to fall into the end zone, which I guess he could do. Arizona has a very beatable rushing attack or rush defense. On the season, they're a bottom 6 matchup. They've been a little bit better the past 3 games, but they're still a very favorable matchup. I guess I slightly lean Roschon, Armando, and you're just kind of hoping he falls into the end zone. Because that's what you're like. These guys are all dart throws, so it's just like, okay, who's got the best chance to fall into the end zone for 6? I would pick Roschon of this group. I think that's where I would go. And Amari Cooper has officially been listed out on Sleeper, so I need to find who am I going to pick up. We'll figure that out here shortly. No, not Ray Davis. I'll take Roschon. Take a chance on Roschon. Man, none of these pickups are super enticing today, but it is what it is. Let's see. I think those are all the questions for now. If I didn't get any other questions, again, this is a member stream, a members where members are eligible for the chat. Anybody can watch this, and I will go over any overarching thoughts. But for Sunday mornings, I will make these members only to kind of keep things moving, make things a little bit more of a streamline on in a tightly packed window on Sunday mornings, where I also have to make my own pickups. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, they will still be streams that where the chat is available to the public, but Sunday will be a member stream moving forward. There won't be a Sunday morning stream next week. We have our final international game of the season when the Giants and Panthers square off in Munich. And then moving forward from that point forward, week 11 on, we'll have the Sunday morning streams where, again, anybody can watch, but the chat will be limited to the members. That'll probably be the cadence moving forward. It keeps things flowing with when time is of the essence, and it makes things a little bit more seamless and run smooth for me as well. If anybody needs anything else, I don't see any other questions that are outstanding at the moment. Just let me know. Donta Foreman has been ruled out. Okay. Donta Foreman's been ruled out. So there you go. It's gonna be Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford today. No surprises there. Man, I am really hurting at wide receiver in one of these leagues, but here we go. I guess I'm grabbing League-It. Okay. Overarching thoughts for today's games. Like I mentioned, Washington and the Giants. You're starting Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Malik Neighbors, and Tyrone Tracy. You can fire up Zach Ertz as a borderline tight end one. He's fine. Wan'Dale Robinson is perfectly fine as a PPR option in leagues that start 3 wide receivers. Eckler is a viable flex with Brian Robinson inactive. I would not pivot. I would not look to Jeremy McNichols or Chris Rodriguez even in deeper leagues. There's not enough there. Not enough work in all likelihood to go around. Chargers and Browns, you're starting David Njoku. You're starting J.K. Dobbins. You can fire up Cedric Tillman as a strong wide receiver 3 play with wide receiver 2 upside. I don't know that he'll catch 2 touchdowns again. This is a slightly tougher matchup by the numbers. However, his target share seems to be incredibly safe. We can confidently fire up Tillman with Jameis throwing him the ball. And you're firing up Ladd McConkey. You want to get him in your lineup, especially in PPR leagues, but he's perfectly fine. He's trending up as a wide receiver 2. The Chargers seem to be throwing the ball a little bit more frequently. They may have to do that again today. It's a tougher matchup by the numbers against Cleveland's defense, so they may have to throw the ball to have a little bit more success. And for whatever it's worth, DJ Chark is out. That may affect the boundary receivers a little bit more, Quentin Johnston and Joshua Palmer. But Ladd McConkey is firmly the slot receiver and appears to have emerged as one of, if not Justin Herbert's favorite top target this year. You can fire up Ladd McConkey with some wide receiver 2 optimism. Nick Chubb is on the flex radar, but I'm not super feeling Nick Chubb just yet. I know that he's back and playing, and that's great, but the efficiency hasn't been spectacular thus far. Things could turn a corner. It's another tougher matchup today. The Chargers have been beatable recently on the ground, but on the season, they've been a pretty good run defense. I don't know how confident I am in Nick Chubb, especially with Jerome Ford coming back to the lineup after a couple of games being out. And Jameis Winston is he's a super flex start, and he's worth a stream in 1 quarterback leagues. Dolphins, Bills, we're starting Josh Allen, we're starting Tyreek Hill, we're starting Devon Achane, we're starting James Cook. I think we're okay with firing up Jalen Waddle today. It's just we have high expectations, and I think it's okay to go back to the well with him. He does the most with the least. We're obviously just hoping that he can if you get Waddle 6 or 7 targets, he can turn it into 100 yards receiving. So we're just hoping that that's all he gets. That's all we're asking for from Waddle. We're not asking for a lot. Just like 6 or 7 different targets, and then he should be able to do anything with that or something of note with that. Amari Cooper out, so Keon Coleman, boost. Khalil Shakir, boost. Dalton Kincaid, boost. Uh, Curtis Samuel should be involved. Hasn't done a whole lot this year, so I can't exactly endorse him as a flex option this week. But Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman are perfectly fine wide receiver 3 plays here with wide receiver 2 upside simply because of the opportunity. I'm not super bullish on Tua. Raheem Mostert, he's touchdown dependent flex. And I mean, I'm not playing Jonnu Smith with Tua back. Cowboys Falcons. CeeDee Lamb is obviously in your lineup. Bijan Robinson is obviously in your lineup. Drake London is obviously in your lineup. Dak Prescott perfectly fine as a QB1. You're starting him in Superflex leagues, obviously. I would say you're probably likely starting him in one quarterback leagues as well. Kyle Pitts, you're starting him. He's been really good since week 5. No reason to go away from that. And Jake Ferguson, 7 targets in 5 of his last 6 games. We can go back to the well with Fergie Ferg. I would say Rico Dowdle should officially be on the RB2 roadmap. Ezekiel Elliott will not play in this game. He is inactive for disciplinary reasons. Dowdle should command most of, if not the vast majority of opportunities in the Cowboys backfield. Dalvin Cook is burnt toast. And Darnell Mooney is perfectly fine as a high upside wide receiver 3 with low end wide receiver 2 appeal. Oh, I think he's the wide receiver 1. He is a wide receiver 1 on the season as far as season scoring goes. And Trayvon Diggs might miss this game. Is he going to play? Let's see what we get from Trayvon Diggs. Inactive. So wheels up on Drake London, wheels up on Darnell Mooney. Yep. And Kirk Cousins is worth a stream in one quarterback leagues. This is a great matchup at home. He's been up and down this year, Cousins has. But this Falcons offense, I feel like they're starting to find their stride, especially with Trayvon Diggs being out. That's a huge break. Drake London is already a wide receiver 1. He moves into potential elite territory today with Trayvon Diggs out for Dallas. London, Pitts, Mooney, Bijan out of the backfield. Cousins is a perfectly fine stream in one quarterback leagues and an obvious start in Superflex leagues. Plus, Micah Parsons will not play. The Cowboys are hurting badly on defense. I would even say Jalen Tolbert is worth a dart throw on the wide receiver 3 radar. Saints Panthers, Alvin Kamara not coming out of your lineup. Chris Olave can go back into your lineup. Obviously, his connection with Derek Carr hasn't been great dating back to Carr's arrival in New Orleans last year, but Rashid Shaheed is out for the season. He doesn't have much else to work with, to be completely honest. We're down to Mason Tipton and Cedric Wilson as the Saints' depth wide receivers. Not only is Shaheed out, but Bub Means is out as well. So Olave should get all the work that he can handle. You are keeping both of those guys into your lineup. Chuba Hubbard should be in your lineup as a borderline, I would say, top 15 option at running back, maybe even a little bit higher than that. Jonathan Brooks will not make his NFL debut this week. We're hoping for week 10. It has to be week 10 or he's going to get shut down for the year. That's the way those practice window rules work. But Hubbard will get the backfield to himself in a beautiful matchup against the Saints defense that can't stop a nosebleed. They are terrible against the run and the pass. Chuba Hubbard should be in your starting lineup. And Taysom Hill is worth a stream at tight end. So many injuries for the Saints offense. You figure he'll get an expanded Swiss Army knife role that he usually commands. And Carolina's a great matchup regardless of what position you play. And Taysom Hill will play multiple positions. He'll play quarterback, he'll play tight end, he'll play running back. He's on the streaming radar at the tight end spot. Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, sneaky wide receiver 4. Legette's a wide receiver 3. Sneaky dart throws in a great matchup. Let's see if there are any other injury updates that are rolling in. Probably are some. T. Higgins inactive, Zamir White active, Xavier Leggett, there he is, active. Jonathan Brooks expected to make season debut week 10, so that's great. Charlie Jones and Jermaine Burton are also out. So the Bengals are really thin at wide receiver. This is making me a little nervous about Joe Burrow. I'm going to be completely honest. It's making me a little nervous about Joe Burrow. Might be starting. Am I starting? I don't want to start. Am I starting Kirk Cousins over Joe Burrow? It's not a crazy. It's not a crazy thought at this point. Burrow's a difficult person to trust right now. What's going on, Tyler? Good to see you. Appreciate the super. Thank you very much. Coleman, Reed, down start 2. Yeah, so Cooper's out. You're definitely starting Downs. He's the Colts wide receiver 1. And especially when Joe Flacco is in the lineup. So you're definitely starting Downs. It's between Reed and Coleman as far as your option, your second option. Coleman, it's a tough matchup by the numbers. The Dolphins are actually pretty good against opposing wide receivers. However, he's got an expanded opportunity today with no Amari Cooper. The problem with Keon Coleman is it could be anybody any given week. It could be Dalton Kincaid. It could be Khalil Shakir. Shit, it could be Mac Hollins. It could be, maybe this is the Curtis Samuel week. Coleman is good and has flashed big play potential. And figures to get a full complement of snaps today with Amari Cooper not playing. Jaden Reed playing with Jordan Love, who's nursing a groin injury. There's 13-mile-per-hour winds in Green Bay today, so that could cause a little bit of a headache or a little bit of a concern. What's the weather in Buffalo? That game is in Buffalo. I know that. What's the weather in Buffalo? It's a little cold, but there's no wind. There's no precipitation. Reed is the better player, Tyler, or at least right now. All due respect to Keon Coleman, but we've seen Jaden Reed do it for a season plus now at this point. And I know, most weeks he's the Packers wide receiver 1. It's definitely a grab bag situation where it's any given week a Packers wide receiver could lead the team. Any given week, any Bills receiver could lead the team for Buffalo. I like Reed in a vacuum, but in this particular circumstance, I think I might prefer Coleman slightly. The weather is not as big of a concern. Amari Cooper is out, and his quarterback isn't on the injury report. Reed's quarterback is on the injury report, and there's 13-mile-per-hour winds swirling around Green Bay today. I think I would go Coleman, Tyler. I would go Downs and Coleman. I like Jaden Reed in a vacuum over Coleman, but for today in particular, I think I would take Keon Coleman. No weather concerns, no Amari Cooper, and his quarterback's not on the injury report. I'll take Keon Coleman over Reed and Downs for sure. Man, I can't believe, I don't want to start Kirk Cousins over Joe Burrow, but it might be necessary. It might be necessary. We'll see. And Bears, Rams, or Saints D. Not the Saints. Are the Titans available, Tyler? I'll keep. They might not be at this point, but I do think they are a solid option for this week. The Saints have a great matchup against Carolina, but the Saints defense stinks, and Lattimore, they stink with Marshawn Lattimore, and Lattimore is out today. I don't trust the New Orleans Saints on the road. I really don't. The Rams are on the road against Seattle, and that might not look too bad. They're playing a Seahawks offense that will not have DK Metcalf, so that's not terrible. It's just they're not that good. They're not a good unit. If these are your options, I might go with the Bears, I guess, but they have to play Kyler Murray on the road. Are the my question, Tyler, is would be are the Titans available? They're playing New England at home. They have the Patriots have a bad offensive line. The Titans have a pretty good defensive line. I think that's where I would go if they are available. If you're looking for a defensive stream, I would be looking at the Titans. Um, like the Commanders might be an okay. They're on the road though. I don't want to play that, And Washington's been playing better recently, but I don't know if I necessarily want to go with them. Um, I would, yeah. If the Titans aren't available, Tyler, I guess I would go the Bears. Although I'm not crazy about playing a team on the road, and all three of these defenses are on the road. Especially when I'm not, I can't definitively say like I feel good about their chances to win the game. You want to play defenses where you think that the team is going to win the game, because then that means that your defense is playing with a lead and therefore has an increased opportunity or chance on a per play basis, especially later in the game, to force sacks and create turnovers. I would play the Titans if they are available. If they're not available, I guess I would play the Bears. But I don't like the Saints just because they're playing Carolina. And I don't like the Rams on the road. They're not a good unit either. And on the road against Seattle, I know Seattle is down DK Metcalf, but I'm just not super confident in that defense. Let's see. But let me know if the Titans are available, Tyler. I appreciate the supers. Thank you. Where did I leave off? Raiders, Bengals. Jamar Chase is going to get all the work he can handle today. So not that he was coming out of your lineup anyway. Neither was Brock Bowers, and neither is Chase Brown. Chase Brown is a top 10 play for me this week. If Chase Brown is on your roster and not in your lineup, find a way to get him into your lineup. He needs to be in there. The Raiders are a great matchup for opposing running backs, and Chase Brown has the backfield to himself. Plus, they're down multiple wide receivers today, so somebody needs to step up in the passing game. Why not Chase Brown with no Zach Moss? Burrow's a low end QB1. Burrow's a low end QB1, but obviously his ceiling is in a bad spot. No T. Higgins. For whatever it's worth, more depth receivers are out. Charlie Jones and Jermaine Burton for the Bengals. So it's Jamar Chase, Trenton Irwin, Andre Yosivas, Mike Gesicki, and then I guess Chase Brown, and I don't even remember who the third who's the third back for Cincinnati. I'm looking it up right now. Travion Williams and Chris Evans. That's right. Chris Evans, Captain America. Yeah. We are really hurting right now at wide receiver for the Bengals. Chase, Yosivas, Trenton Irwin, and Kendrick Pryor, along with Mike Gesicki, Eric Gall. Burrow is an incredibly dicey low-end QB1 today. The matchup is great. He's at home, and it's Joe freaking Burrow, but we're down a lot of weapons today. We're not only down 3 receivers, including T. Higgins, but we're also down Zach Moss, who, not that he elevates the passing game in a spectacular way, but he can catch the ball. So we're down multiple weapons in Cincinnati. I am seriously considering like a Kirk Cousins type of player as a stream over Joe Burrow. However, if your options are like Joe Burrow or Geno Smith or Joe Flacco or Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, Derek Carr, then you play Burrow. But like somebody like Cousins or Sam Darnold tonight, you may want to consider pivoting off of Burrow. This is a good spot for him, though. Jacoby Myers is worth a start. He has been a strong wide receiver 2 play over the past month of the season, and that shouldn't change with Devontae Adams obviously out of Vegas. So he will continue to command a number 1 target share for the team. He's on the wide receiver 2-ish radar. And Mike Gesicki is a tight end stream with so many injuries to the Bengals pass catching group. And I would start, honestly, I think Alexander Mattison is on the RB2 radar. He has been decent with the opportunities that he has received. He is the clear-cut starter for the Raiders over Zamir White, who is active today but is not good. If you need a running back option, you could do worse than Alexander Mattison. You could do worse than Alexander Mattison. So the Colts and the Broncos defenses are available today. Yeah, I don't want to play Denver against Lamar Jackson. The Colts against Sam Darnold on the road. I guess I like the Colts more than I like, say, like the Rams and the Bears. Oh, I like the Colts more than I like the Rams and the Saints. It's another team on the road. I don't want to play Denver, Tyler, for sure. Not against Lamar, not on the road. I guess the Colts. I guess I would go Indianapolis. I'm not but like the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Sam Darnold's been playing well. Hawkinson's back. And the Colts are a great matchup for opposing tight ends. It's dire straits here, Tyler. I guess I'll ask another question. Is Washington available? I'm not crazy about the Commanders, but they've been playing a little bit better recently on defense, and you can always get after Daniel Jones. If Washington is available, I think that's my definitive call. If not, I might go with the Bears and hope for the best, even though I'm not crazy about that matchup. We're talking about a lot of defenses on the road today, which gives me a little bit of concern. I definitely don't want to play Denver. Maybe the Colts, although they're on the road as well. I guess they might play better with Flacco in at quarterback, and so their offense sustains better drives and, puts the defense in more advantageous spots or situations. I would see if Washington is available, and I would pick them up. If they're not available and the Titans are not available, I guess I could go. It's either Indianapolis or Chicago. I'll take Indianapolis over the Bears because I think I trust Joe Flacco right now to help the defense by sustaining drives on offense more than I trust Caleb Williams. So I assume Tennessee's not available, but I'll go Washington if they're available, then the Colts, then the Bears. That's where I'll go, Tyler. Appreciate the supers. And best of luck today. Let me know if you need anything else. What's going on, Fortune? Good to see you, man. Yeah, Tillman's a solid start today. You can fire him up. He's commanding a ridiculous target share right now from Jameis Winston. It's a tougher matchup today than it was last week. Baltimore is the most beatable secondary in the NFL right now. The Chargers are the opposite of that. They're a pretty good defense overall. However, they're at home, and Tillman is commanding like a 35% target share. 27%. It's not a great matchup, but Tillman's volume is ridiculous right now. Yeah, you can spot start him as a strong wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 appeal. I don't think he's going to get 2 touchdowns again. Not against this secondary. But at home, you could do worse. You could do worse. Let's see. Where did I leave off? I got through Falcons, Cowboys. I got through Panthers, Saints. I got through Raiders, Bengals, Broncos, Ravens. So obviously Lamar is in your lineup as your QB1 in one quarterback and superflex leagues. Derrick Henry is, as always, in your starting lineup as your RB1. Mark Andrews can be fired up today as a tight end one. He has caught fire the past couple of weeks. He has touchdowns in 3 straight games, and he's running more routes than he was at the start of the season. No, and Deontay Johnson expected to have a very minimal role on offense today. So Mark Andrews for at least one more week should not be impacted by Deontay Johnson's arrival in Baltimore. I'll play Mark Andrews as a tight end, as a low end tight end one. Zay Flowers is on the radar as well as a wide receiver. He's a boom bust wide receiver 3. He can give you a wide receiver 2 performance, but he can also give you a wide receiver 6 performance. So if you need Zay Flowers, he is a little bit more viable today with, again, Deontay Johnson expected to have a minimal role at best on offense. Again, move off of Deontay Johnson. The report is he might not see more than 10 to 15 offensive snaps. That number could go up if Baltimore is trailing in the second half, but that's not a situation that I trust today. Let's stay off of Deontay. But you can Zay Flowers is a perfectly fine option to pivot to if you have him. And Cortland Sutton in this matchup is on the strong wide receiver 3 roadmap in this beautiful matchup. Again, the Baltimore Ravens, by the numbers, have the worst secondary in the NFL. Cortland Sutton should be able to come through today with a wide receiver 3 performance if you need it. And to that point, Bo Nix is on the streaming radar even in one quarterback leagues. I would sit the Broncos backfield, though. Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, Sir Audric Estime, first of his name, long may he reign. It sounds like this is going to be a gross, crowded, muddied backfield. I would avoid all 3 of them, especially in this matchup. Patriots, Titans, we're firing up Ramondre Stevenson as a volatile RB2, but should be able to be okay with some volume. Calvin Ridley is a strong wide receiver 2 play now that Mason Rudolph is the quarterback. And Tony Pollard, we're going back to him even though he's been on the injury report. He is expected to play. I believe he's been activated. He's been officially activated. Let me see. Double checking here. Yes, Pollard active. So you are putting him in your starting lineups. Demario Douglas is on the flex radar if you need a flex play at wide receiver. Drake May is in at quarterback, and L'Jarius Sneed is out. These are good. That's a good formula for Demario Douglas if you need him as a deep flex option. Hunter Henry is on the streaming radar at the tight end spot, low end tight end 1. Everybody else in this lineup or in this game, we are sitting. Bears, Cardinals, Trey McBride, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, James Conner, Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray, all in your starting lineup. You're getting all those guys in there. Should be a decent number of points potentially scored today in the desert. One of the few games I feel like today where we're not dealing with any potential weather issues. Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, they're on the wide receiver 3 roadmap. Caleb Williams is a guy where super flex leagues, you have to play him. One quarterback leagues, I would prefer not to play him. We need to see some consistency more regularly from this Bears offense before we go to Caleb as a weekly start in one quarterback leagues. Can't do that yet. And Cole Kmet is a difficult to trust tight end that I would rather not play. Eagles, Jaguars. You already know what you're doing with all your Eagles. You're starting them. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, all in your starting lineup. Evan Ingram is in your starting lineup. What is the status of Brian Thomas? I thought I last saw that he will play. Or he's going to try to play. Expected to play Sunday. Brian Thomas is maybe more on the wide receiver 3 radar this week than the wide receiver 2 radar because of the chest injury, and it's not a great matchup. However, Brian Thomas is a stud. You may have to be relying on him out of necessity. You can start him. He's expected to play. I would not play the running backs for Jacksonville in this game. I would not play Travis Etienne. I would not play Tank Bigsby. They're both expected to play, but they were both on the injury report all week, and this is a bad matchup by the numbers. I'd rather not play either Jacksonville running back. Trevor Lawrence is a super flex play only, not a one quarterback play. and Dallas Goedert is out. I would not worry about any of the backup options at tight end for the Eagles. Pretty much on Jacksonville's side, you're only starting Evan Ingram, and if you need a wide receiver 3, Brian Thomas can give you, he can give you wide receiver 2 upside, but obviously expectations might be down a little bit because of the matchup and the injury. Lions Packers. This one is gross. It's going to be rainy and windy during this game. So knock everybody down a peg outside of the running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, all perfectly fine to fire up, and you have to start Amon-Ra. I would seriously consider trying to move off of anybody else in this game. Sam Laporta, you may not have a better option, but I would maybe even consider somebody like a Taysom Hill over Laporta, given the concerns about the weather in this game. Laporta is more of a low-end tight end 1 than a firm tight end 1. The firm tight end 1s are Kelsey, Bowers, Otten, and Njoku, Trey McBride, Evan Ingram, Jake Ferguson, and Kyle Pitts. After that, it's kind of a crapshoot. Laporta is looking a little bit more dicey today than normal. Same can be said for all of the pass catchers not named Amon-Ra. So Laporta on the Lions side. We're not even considering Khalif Raymond or Tim Patrick, but Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson. I'd move off of all of these guys if you can. Dobbs might be fine as like the possession guy, but the weather is a concern today in Green Bay. Outside of Amon-Ra, St. Brown, I'd look to avoid all of the pass catchers for Packers, Lions. You can start the running backs, though. You can start Gibbs, you can start Montgomery, and for the Packers, you can start Josh Jacobs, who is expected to play. He's been on the injury report, but is expected to play. Rams, Seahawks, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, all must starts. Get them into your lineup, including Puka. Not worried about the knee injury. He's expected to play. In fact, he's been removed from the injury report last I saw. We have no choice. We have to fire him up. Tyler Lockett is in flex consideration at home in this matchup with no DK Metcalf. He's been difficult to trust this year, but if you need a wide receiver 3, if you're desperate, it's a great matchup by the numbers, and Lockett's a savvy vet. Same could be said for Jackson Smith and Jigba as far as a stream. He's not a savvy vet, but he is in conversation for flex plays if you need a wide receiver 3. He's been disappointing, but he's got the volume. He's running the routes, and this is a great matchup. So, again, you could do worse than Smith and Jigba or Tyler Lockett. Matthew Stafford is worth a stream in 1 quarterback leagues because Kupp and Puka are back, and that's all there is to it. I would not play Geno Smith. I would not play any ancillary pieces in this game. Colby Parkinson, Zach Charbonnet. Noah Fant is out. Definitely not playing Geno. So Smith and Jigba and Lockett should get funneled some targets today. And then finally, tonight, the Sunday night matchup between the Colts and the Vikings. You already know what you're doing with Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, and Jonathan Taylor. They are in your starting lineup. I would say the same goes for Josh Downs. Josh Downs is the Colts wide receiver 1 when Joe Flacco is the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. We are getting him in there. He is at worst a wide receiver 2. Sam Darnold is a perfectly fine stream in 1 quarterback leagues and an obvious start in Superflex formats. He's been top 15, 6 of 7 starts, and this is a great matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. Sam Darnold can be fired up in 1 quarterback leagues. TJ Hawkinson is a tentative tight end 1 with how bad the landscape is. I prefer to err on the side of caution with guys coming back for the first game back after a long, lengthy absence. And for Hawkinson, his absence dates back to the end of last season. I would prefer to wait a week on him. However, this is a great matchup, and you might be in dire straits at the tight end position, whether it's bye weeks, if you have Kittle, or if you're dealing with poor performances from guys like Dalton Kincaid or a bad situation like weather in Detroit or in Green Bay. So that hurts Sam Laporta and Tucker Kraft. If that's your situation, Hawkinson is fine as a desperation play, but I can't emphasize desperation enough. While Hawkinson is a tight end 1 rest of season, once he gets his sea legs under him, we're not there quite yet. So I'd rather wait a game unless I have absolutely no other option. Michael Pittman on the wide receiver 3, high-end wide receiver 3 radar. Again, his floor is boosted with Joe Flacco in at quarterback over Anthony Richardson. You could do worse than Pittman. I don't trust Jordan Addison with TJ Hawkinson coming back, and Alec Pierce, A.D. Mitchell, Jalen Naylor, all not in consideration. Okay. I think that will do it for today. I will give it a couple more minutes to see if there are any other members that need anything else. Again, moving forward for the Sunday morning streams, these will be member only chats. Everybody else will be able to watch if you so care. What's going on, Derek? Good to see you. But I will be limiting these Sunday morning streams moving forward to members only chats. It keeps things a little bit more streamlined. It moves things along a little bit more easily, and it allows me to make some time for my own lineup decisions. However, the Saturday start sit streams will continue to be open to everybody, and as will be the Tuesday and Thursday streams. I will be back on Tuesday for Week 10 waiver wire plus general AMA at 6 p.m. Eastern. But yes, best of luck to everybody today. If nobody needs anything else, if you need anything in these final 40 minutes before kickoff, as of the moment that I say that, it's about 12:20 on the East Coast now. You can leave a comment in the form of a question, and I will try to get to it between now and kickoff. But I think everybody should be square at this point, shortly before all of the games kick off. And yes, Greg, I want to play the Titans defense anyway. I prefer Tennessee's defense. Yes. I know May is playing, but they're at home. The Titans are, and it's a great matchup because the Patriots offensive line stinks. They stink. Yeah, I'll take the Titans defense. I think they're a good stream today. Okay. I think we're square. I think everybody has what they need. Best of luck in week 9. Let's get these dubs. Appreciate the supers from Tyler. Was there another super as well? No, that's okay. Just Tyler, but appreciate it, Tyler. And of course, to all my members, great to see all of you guys come in today. Hopefully this was helpful regardless of whether you are a member or not, because again, I do make these streams available to view for the public. But moving forward again, one final time, the Sunday morning streams will be member only chats. The other streams will remain open to the public as far as chat availability. Good luck today, everybody. I will be back on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for Week 10 waivers, and then, of course, any other AMA that you guys may have. Best of luck. Thanks. Let's get these wins.